last night, okay? And what you did last night, I want you to find your happy spot. I want you to find the thing that drives you, something you might be really looking forward to, something in the past that's happened. I want you to find a really happy spot, something that gets you going. I want you to focus it right here. This part of your brain is your prefrontal cortex. It's the part that makes you human. Okay? That's the part that contains each and every one of your personalities. Okay? I want you to take that memory and I want you to just focus it right there in that part of your brain. On the count of three, we're going to take a deep breath and we're going to push that memory through our horns. Find that memory, find it, really focus on it. 1, 2, 3. You all might think I'm crazy, but the difference in sound that you just produced is night and day. Okay, it really is. So, today, as we go forward in this new space, large audience, probably going to have some flubs. I just want you to periodically take a moment, step back, find that happy moment. I really want you to focus on it, think about it, and channel that energy through your horn, because that's what will make the difference between you having a good time today and sad faces. Alright? So, I believe Ms. Julie's going to introduce us, and we're going to start with the Destiny Keys.
Welcome and Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. And we are very excited today to have the Isle High School Band, grades 8 through 12.
Correct, yes.
Here to play for us in this beautiful space that we have here at Bethesda. This is the first, which Mike, Director Mr. Prisabilla over there and I have been talking. You know, it's just a nice spot for the kids to come and play and for us to be able to hear a concert. And he was just telling the kids to think about your some happy memories, get a smile on your face. Same thing, I want you to appreciate the music, the effort that these kids are putting in to do this. And last night they had their concert in Isle. They'll be playing some of the same music. Director Mr. Prisabilla, Priz, as he's called, who has a really great cat Christmas deck, which we and we'll take a few breaks a little bit during the concert. He'll explain all the things you're going to be playing, but this started by our efforts last August. We collected a bunch of instruments from people that had them in their closets, and maybe a couple dozen, and
3 van loads worth.
yeah, a lot. And Priz is a self-proclaimed instrument.
Oh, I was going to say dirt farmer.
Okay. And so a lot of the younger kids, 5th, 6th, and 7th graders are now playing those instruments, but we can give, the instruments, and we're getting a great return on this investment, let me tell you. So thank you all for coming, and thank you, band, for being here. This is going to be awesome.
Good morning. As Julie said, my name is Dwight Prisabilla. I have been in Isle. These students have been trapped with me for the last 9 years. It's been a crazy adventure. We're going to bounce back and forth between some Christmas carols, some traditional church tunes, and some of our music from last night's concert. With our Christmas carols, if at any urge you feel a burning desire to sing along, please feel free to do so. A lot of them will repeat through. The first time we'll have the band play, and the second time I will turn around, and to the best of my ability to multitask, I will invite you all to sing with us. Our first song we'll be performing today is Adeste Fidelis, better known as O Come All You Faithful.
This box is a lot smaller now than it is in practice. Alright, you guys ready? We'll play it 2 times, check your key. Here we go. 1, 2, grab.
Our next song we're going to do for you is also a very traditional Christmas carol, but it's less traditional in American Christmas and more traditional in British Christmas. If you happen to go across the pond, the Boar's Head Carol is a very popular song that gets sung, and it represents just celebrating surviving life. It comes from the 1400s, and at that point in the world, just surviving to the next day was a big deal. And so the Boar's Head Carol represents surviving and thriving, and we're celebrating all of that success. As Julie was saying, one of the things that led to this, am I stalling enough to get all your pages in order? So we had problems printing this, and it's 5 pages long, and it didn't need to be. But anyway, what started this was an instrument drive, and we literally had 3 van loads of instruments. There was saxophones, clarinets, trumpets. There's a C melody horn, which they haven't made those for like 60 plus years. So all these things that came in, and a lot of them were in surprisingly good shape, and the vast majority of them are in our 5th and 6th grade student hands. With this particular group in front of us, we're very fortunate. Many of these students own their own instruments. But with our 5th and 6th grade groups, many of those students do not. And so a lot of those instruments are either being used or we're able to salvage parts off of them to get another instrument going. So thank you for that. And I think I don't hear papers rustling, so I believe they are ready to go. But now I gotta get my 5 pages. Preferably in the right order. Alright, you guys ready? What happens on page 4?
I don't know.
Key change.
Yeah. Thank you. Oh, it's page 3?
Yeah.
Oh, page 3.
It's 3.5.
3.5? Alright. So we're all aware of it. Alright, here we go. Nice, innocent, strong, triumphant, survival. I'll give you 1, 2 breath. 1, 2, breath.
So one of the things you might notice with this group, we're kind of formal, as you can tell. We're wearing dress pants, I guess. But compared to a lot of other performing bands you'll notice I have a lot of interaction with this group of students in here. And part of my philosophy as a music teacher is, and this sounds terrible to say it out loud, but this isn't the next Minnesota Orchestra. Okay, I know it, y'all know it. But that's not my goal. My goal is not to build the next Minnesota Orchestra. My goal is to make darn sure that these guys have fun. It's to make sure that they are learning music, and that way, when in 10 or 15 years, if they happen to get married, if they have kids, they look back and say, you know what, gosh darn it, band was not the worst thing I ever did. And you might accidentally have fun with it too. And so you'll see that we have a lot of moments where I'll be doing something goofy with the kids. If you know me, I'm kind of a goofy person anyway, so it works well. And then the other part is too, we practiced for an hour beforehand up here, just getting used to the space, getting used to, this isn't quite all of our band. We have a few people out sick today. A couple people just couldn't make it for other reasons. So it's a little bit of a change for us, but just supplying a face break. People don't think about it, but much like conditioning for sports, we condition our faces to play. Our band class at school is only 48 minutes long. So if we play for 2 hours back to back, those last 20 minutes are going to be pretty sad for us because we literally, our faces won't handle it. So if it seems like I'm stalling for time, it's because I am. Our next song that we're going to perform for you today is called Deck the Halls. Feel free to sing along on the second time through. You guys ready? Deck the Hall? There goes a star, yes. Oh. One, two, good. next selection that we'll be playing for you today is titled Holiday in London. And I don't know what it is, but there always seems to be a theme whenever I'm plotting music for these guys. And apparently this concert, the theme was England. So when we hear Holiday in London, it's not holiday as in Christmas in London, but it's holiday in the European style of I'm taking a vacation. I'm going on holiday. And so as we go on our holiday in London, we start out, the first thing as in our trip that we see is we see the guards in the red uniform with the giant bearskin hats. They're the Queen's Guard. I looked that up since it's constant. So it's the Queen's Guards. And they're very stoic, and they stand there and they don't show emotion. And so as we play through that first movement, we get to envision those guards standing there doing their duty. And after we witness the guards, we kind of change gears and we go into this fog. England, London in particular, is very well known for having large amounts of foggy days. And so it's not like a little wispy fog, but it's that thick pea soup fog. You can almost cut it with a knife. And so we kind of wander through the streets of London in that thick fog, and then we finish by visiting Trafalgar Square, which is a very busy, very heavily trafficked area, and the band does a great job of crashing a car, literally. You guys ready?
You want me to play bass or snare?
What did you play last night?
Bass.
Play that. So, you'll see us talking to each other again. We've had a couple people sick, so we're covering parts. People start reading new stuff. It's just all part of being a 29-person band, which for Isle is a really good-sized band for us. It's been a long time. But when I talked to the band director from Pine City, and he was complaining that, oh, he only had 25 juniors in his top band this year. It's like, oh, yeah, must be nice. So, you know, it's a small band, and we have our challenges, but it's also one of the joys of my job is getting to work with these students one-on-one, and we really get to work and build that relationship together. So, Holiday in London? Nice and stoic.
while the band is preparing for their next song, I want to talk just a little bit more about some of how the Bethesda connections got going with this whole idea. And I'll take it back to Joanne back there, who runs a great Bible school here. And thank you, Joanne. And she's able to get some great helpers, including, and I'm going to have you two guys stand up, Mark and Jackson. And they came and helped last summer, and they helped. I was working with kids outside and playing stuff and whatever, and they kept talking about band and how much they appreciated this guy right here, even though he was tough on it. And so we kept that conversation going. Then we were collecting the instruments, and then Ari, you get to stand up too. Ari helped, and Mark, and we got all the instruments to Isle. I got to meet Mr. Prisabilla, and here we are. And so we have good connections, we have great kids here, and we have a great director, and let's give them another little.
Throughout today, you'll hear us playing. I found this online 9 years ago when I started, and I shamelessly stole it and printed it, and have kept it for 9 years because it's such an excellent teaching tool. And what this is, for those in the back that can't read it, it says 36 chorales for band. And there's a gentleman, Aaron Cole. He's a band director. I believe he's from southern Minnesota, but there's a 30% chance I made that up off the top of my head. But I know he's a band director somewhere. And he arranged these in SATB format, which SATB isn't something we typically see in the band world. That's choir for soprano, alto, tenor, and bass. But we also have kind of that breakdown. We see our flutes and clarinets that kind of fulfills our soprano voices. We also have a lot of trumpets that fill that soprano voice. Our alto voice is filled by our alto saxophones. It's in the name. Nice. Our tenor voice is filled a lot of times by our trombone and euphonium. We also have a couple of altos that dabble in tenor world. And then our bass section is filled in by tuba, bari sax, bass clarinet, things like that. But what's nice about this packet is it really allows us as a band to explore different sounds. What happens if we take our bass instruments and we say, well, let's put them on the soprano line and see how that sounds. And usually it doesn't sound great, and that's why they play bass. But it's a nice teaching opportunity for us and for them. But what's really cool about this is there's a lot of music in this packet that's not accessible to us. And it's not because we're bad people or we're terrible musicians. A lot of this is written for a 100-piece band that has 12 French horns, 9 trombones, and 11 clarinets. Well, we have 2 clarinets, we have a trombone, and exactly 0 French horns. And so a lot of that music isn't quite accessible to us. So with this packet, even though it's very simplified versions of that music, we still get a chance to play it, and you can feel the inspiration of the piece of music or the idea that the composer had in mind. So as we're playing through this today and you hear some of those, yes, I wish these were full-length works, but unfortunately a lot of them are only 30 seconds long. So our next one is number 21. It's Nimrod, right? So for those of you that grew up with Looney Tunes, until Looney Tunes came around, Nimrod was not an insult. Nimrod is a biblical figure. He was a mighty hunter. In fact, there's a beautiful choral piece of music out there built around Nimrod the mighty hunter. And so Nimrod was a compliment until about the mid-60s when Elmer Fudd was chasing Bugs Bunny, and Elmer Fudd does what Elmer Fudd does, and Bugs Bunny called him a Nimrod. Tongue-in-cheek, oh, the mighty hunter, look, you can't catch me. And ever since then, Nimrod has been an insult. So, without further ado, Nimrod. All right, so again, another very short segment. This is one of the, this particular arrangement isn't this group's favorite piece, but the arrangement that we play at commencement every year, it's the Chorale from Jupiter. If you're familiar with Gustav Holst, he wrote a suite called The Planets, and it features Mars and Mercury and Venus and Neptune and Jupiter, and I don't think Pluto's in on that one. It didn't exist yet back then. But the Chorale from Jupiter is a monumental piece of music. A lot of times we see it in royal events when there is very important people walking around. I have sang at weddings where I've seen the bride walk down to this chorale. Personally, for me, this is the first piece of music that my daughter heard when we got home from the hospital. I pulled it up and she fell asleep on me. It was adorable, and it's one of those memories that just is locked into my brain. But the Chorale from Jupiter. There is a star on this one.
Where?
4 from you.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
5.
No, it's 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
5 from you. Alright, here we go. Remember, this one needs to be faster if you want it to. Ta, 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 ta. Here we go.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, up. Holiday in London, but we're gonna, or not that. Original 13, but we're gonna start at letter C. We're gonna start right on C. So our fruit parade starts that. So our next song we're going to be playing for you is called The Original 13, and we're going to edit it slightly a little bit. We're missing enough people We're going to cut out a very small chunk of it. But as we're playing this, the original 13, it's about our original 13 colonies that settled this land. And it's interesting to listen to this piece, and we've been playing it for quite a bit now. And we start to find these themes. We start to hear a little bit of Yankee Doodle comes out in there. We start to hear a little bit of the British tune. Well, we know it as My Country 'Tis of Thee, but the British know it as God Save the Now King. It was God Save the Queen until recently. We also hear this theme of Chester. Chester has a very interesting history in the United States. Chester was penned by a gentleman of the name of William Billings. And William Billings wrote this tune, and it kind of became the unofficial theme song of the American Revolution. What's interesting about it is if we look at our modern military, if we suffer a loss in the military, when we bury them, we have our 21-shot salute. And in the original, this version doesn't quite highlight it as much. It is in there if you really want to nerd out and do score study. But for the original Chester theme by William Billings, it actually has a 21-shot salute in it, built in through the use of percussion and several block chords in the instrument. So we can trace that tradition of the 21-shot salute all the way back to the American Revolution. It was there already. In this piece of music, we find that evidence of that. So as we play through this, one, enjoy it, but two, see how many different songs you can find woven together in here, because there's quite a few, and it's pretty fantastically done. 3, 4, C. 3, 4, C. Yeah. Our next piece that we'll be doing for you is the lovely Christmas carol, The First Noel. The second time through, feel free to join in and sing with us. All right. We'll get back to the fancy Italian version again. Andantino. Yeah? Sure. There's no stop. All right, as they're getting their music in order, so when Julie first she's not right there anymore. Holy smokes. When Julie first approached me about this, she said, "Hey, would you be interested in having your band come and play up here?" And I'm like, "Gee, I don't know. We'll see what happens, you know." And how am I going to convince 29 kids to miss school for a whole day? So that problem kind of solved itself. And then my second thought was, well, gosh, if I'm going to take them all day, we got to feed them somehow. And Julie's like, "We got you covered." And so when I told these guys that, hey, if you're passing all your classes and you're in good graces with all your teachers, you are welcome to hop on a giant yellow tube. We'll drive up to Malmo. We'll play for an hour. You'll get to miss all of school except for your first hour and your last hour. And they're going to feed you. That was about the easiest sell I've ever had in my life. So we've had a lot of fun preparing for this. A lot of it's stuff we do in a normal day, but we also do some extra stuff. This caroling packet, we usually dabble in it a little bit, but never as much as we have this year. And I want to take this time, A, to give them a little bit of a face break, but two, concerts are a byproduct of what happens in our classroom. And it's kind of an odd mentality to have. For a lot of band teachers out there, it is, we have a concert, we are going to get music, and we are going to drill music, and whatever happens, happens. But for us, at least I try as much as I can. I will freely admit, the closer that concert date gets, I kind of get into that habit of drill a little bit too. But the concert is a byproduct of what we learn. Last night at our concert, I talked about how learning music, reading music, is really no different than learning a new language. I have a 15-month daughter at home, and it's wonderful. It really is, but it's also horrifying. She's into everything. She can walk now. As fast as I can fold laundry, she can throw it across the house and thinks it's hilarious. But every night we read a bedtime story. And she's gotten to the point where she starts to like books, and she likes them a lot. And so if you're sitting on the couch trying to relax, she will walk up to you with a book, and if you don't grab that book and read it to her, she will throw it at you. But now she's gotten to the point where she realizes that mom and dad don't particularly enjoy having books chucked at them, so she will open it up and she will point to the words. And she knows that that word means something. She's heard me or my other half read those books to her, and she knows they make a sound. She just doesn't know what sound that makes. So she'll point to it and make all sorts of cute noises that we have to remember when she's destroying the house. It's like, oh no, she's also cute too. But reading music is no different really for these students than it is for my 15-month-old to read a book. We see dots on the page. There's also some Italian words on there. There's other strange symbols, and we know they mean something. But part of what we do is we learn to take those dots and we translate them into the sounds you hear. And it really isn't different than learning a new language. The music, or the language that they're learning, is music. So we're excited to share that with you all today. All right, you guys ready to hark the herald? Who's this herald? Why are we harking? There's a star from the end, correct? Where? Oh, I see it. Who from the end? Check the key signature, please. Concert F major. 1, 2, good luck. no, we're not having a senior moment up here. If you hear all my kids yelling the word star in this little packet, sometimes we don't start at the beginning of our music. There's a star halfway through, and that's where we start. Why? I have no idea. That's the way it's written. So we're just following the directions.
Check the key, 4 flats. So our next one in here, and your pastor caught me earlier. I know for almost every single song in here, I know the words for, and there are like 2 or 3 that I don't. And this is one of them, O Sanctissima. And I have distinct memories of being a wee little lad, and hearing the church that I went to, hearing the choir sing this. It's one of my earlier memories, and it's an absolutely beautiful Christmas hymn, but I have no idea what the words are to this. So if you hear this and it rings a bell in your head and you know words, find me after this because I'm curious. Are we ready? There's a star. There's a star.
Yeah.
There's a star. Here we go. 1, 2. Let's pull number 12 out of this. You know my open. Be a nice one. And then looking at the time, we'll probably do this one. We'll do a little town of Bethlehem, and I'll finish up with the missionary. Whoa, ooh, that was a good one. You wish you Merry Christmas and done. So, number 12. And really watch out this one. This is one you guys can do in your sleep. So, get out of your stands and look up. Alright? Yeah. So our next selection we'll be doing for you is our chorale packet. Be Thou My Vision. Some of you might know it as Slain. It is as the church choir that I run in my hometown affectionately calls a moldy oldie. It has been here since before they built the church, and it will be here long after we outgrow our church. So it's a moldy oldie, and we hope you enjoy it. Let's look out. 1, 2, and
2 songs left for you today. What was it, Mark? It's number 13 now. We have 2 songs left for you today. The second to last song we'll be doing for you is called O Little Town of Bethlehem, which this is another one that I don't know the words to, but your pastor sang it for me, so I kind of know them now. So we'll play O Little Town of Bethlehem, and we'll play We Wish You a Merry Christmas. And thank you again for coming. Thank you for the support that you've given these students. This has been an excellent opportunity for us, and we're very happy to be here. We hope you have us back in the future. So thank you. Everyone good on 13? There's a stop. Pick up step 4 from the end. Stop. Double check that key signature. What do we want to do? 1, 2, I just want to say thank you for having us. This has been great. Thank you, Julie, for setting this up and for tolerating me. I know sometimes it's hard to contact, just scatterbrain. So thank you. We hope you enjoy our last number. By the way, did anybody know the words for the Sicilian song? Oh, what's this actually called? Oh, Sanctissima? It's Latin? Okay. Gonna have to dig back farther in my group of people. So, thank you again for coming. We hope you enjoyed. Safe travels home, and above all, Merry Christmas.
And when the band is done, we're going to have them, they can just leave their instruments and go and get in line, and they can eat first. They're gonna be at the tables back here, and then you're all welcome to stay. And before that, Pastor James will have a short grace for us through.
Excellent. Thank you. All right. We wish you a Merry Christmas. Check your key signatures. Holy crap, check your key on this one. And there's a star, and a road map, and this pickup doesn't exist. Yay.
Yes.
They're like, what kind of pickup are you driving in? So anyway, the pickup is wrong. Yes? Okay. Yay. Uh-huh. Here we go. Star. I'll give you one. 1, 2, 3, 1. Breath.
have a quick grace here before we head to our food. Well, remember, we'll let the kids go first. But let us pray. Good and gracious God, we want to thank you for this time this morning. We thank you so much for the gifts of all who made this day possible. We especially thank you for these youth who blessed us with their gift of music. Bless all the music makers in this world, oh God, for all the beauty and joy and wonder that they bring into your world. And we also thank you, of course, for this food that we will now share, for all the hands that help make it. May it fill our bodies and enrich us and fill us with strength as much as this music has done as well. And may this time together encourage us to be as generous in our lives and in our world as these young people have been with us. So thank you, God, for all the gifts that you bring to us and enable us to share. And we all pray this all in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Friends, go eat.